CHINTU Ka Birthday, official trailer. A Z5 original film premieres June 5th on Z5. So y'all know where to find that once it drops.
I got a funny feeling. I got a funny feeling. Yeah.
Hello people, I'm Jaby Koay, joined by ACHARA KIRK.
What's up, peeps?
How's everybody doing out there in the
wide world?
in the YouTube land? We're gonna look at this trailer now, not tomorrow, but right this second. And it's got, it's apparently Tanmay, Bhat, and AIB were involved in the making of this here in project.
Movie.
Okay,
Yeah.
here we go.
कितना लाएंगे चिंटू के पापा?
कितना लाएंगे पापा? आप सुलेख नहीं कर सकते हैं ना?
बोलो सियावर रामचंद्र की
जय!
चलिए चिंटू बाबू का बर्थडे है आज। हैप्पी बर्थडे टू यू।
बस बिजली नहीं जानी चाहिए।
अरे नहीं जाएगा बिजली, निश्चिंत रहिए, थोड़ा मुस्कुराइए।
पापा 1 महीना से बोल रहे हैं कि इस बार जबरदस्त बर्थडे बनेगा।
टोटल कितना दोस्त आएगा शाम को?
25।
हाँ?
25।
अरे हम तो 50 का बोले थे, पिछले साल का भी हिसाब बराबर कर लेते।
चिंटू, अब याद आए है नानी का पैर छूना है।
पापा याद दिलाए नानी।
कोयली के बचुआ टिकुलिया गे दुगो जामुन खीरा। कोयली के बचुआ टिकुलिया गे दुगो जामुन।
और मेरा बर्थडे?
Whoa.
Open up! Took you so long, buddy. Double check the room.
I can explain.
Down! Is he part of your family?
See, there is a mistake.
Say one more word, and I'll blow your goddamn head off.
We come for Chintu birthday party. Best friend, girlfriend. She go to school. You destroyed this morning.
What?
Welcome to Bump Guy Ride.
Oh, wow.
My name is Madhan Tiwari, sir. We are Indian.
Is your whole family working for these insurgents? Happy birthday, Chintu.
My Chintu is crying on his happy birthday. It is wrong.
पापा इसको कितने खिलाएंगे?
अब जो बिगड़ना है बिगड़ जाए। चिंटू का बर्थडे तो हम लोग मना के रहेंगे।
I saw Tanmay Bhat's name there as one of the producers. Like, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting a comedy because, well, it is funny. There were funny moments in it, but I totally wasn't expecting that moment where it's like, oh, actually, this Indian family, they're not in India, they're in Iraq, and there's a war going on. And then it all kind of makes sense as to why he couldn't have had a birthday party last year. That's just very touching.
Not a lot of ha-has in that.
That bit with the kid though, the boy and the girl that arrived.
Yeah, that was funny.
That was pretty funny.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things like, oh, if you watch The Joker, because I know you didn't, there's random moments in there that are funny because the director, he's traditionally done comedies. It's a serious film, and then out of nowhere, you'll find these like haha moments. For some people that works, and others that doesn't. For me, that didn't necessarily work. It just kind of caught me off guard as like, well, that seemed totally weird. Whereas here, it didn't feel out of place entirely, even though I know where it's coming from. It felt like that's entirely possible because when you have kids who are growing up in this environment, they sort of take for granted just the abnormalcy of the situation. Yeah, it's completely abnormal.
Normal.
It's normal for them,
Yeah.
but it's like abnormal to all of us. And so they take this war-torn environment as, well, that's just what it is. And so they behave as such as that's normal. And so they respond to it like it's normal, as opposed to responding to it with fear and angst and, you know, whatnot. I mean, that's me projecting onto the kid where he goes, you know, you blew up my school this morning. I'm just here for the birthday party. Get out of the way. Like,
Yeah, he's like, excuse me,
Yeah.
like move your freaking machine gun, why don't you?
He doesn't even care that it's a foreigner with a gun. He's literally putting his hand on the gun like, get out of my way. It's a very interesting concept, and it certainly makes you reflect as an American where you're like, God, what did we do over there? You know, like obviously it has nothing to do with me. I didn't have any say in the matter of what American soldiers did when they went overseas to do whatever. It's all mucky. It's all a big mess. There is the need and then there's excessive. Like, I don't know what's going on. I'm not there. The only people who know what's going on are the people who live there and are seeing the American soldiers come into their home and whatnot, which they actually did show in American Sniper. Like, they showed American soldiers, well, it was still Republican propaganda, don't get it twisted, but they showed the soldiers going into people's homes and whatnot and like how those conversations kind of went. It might have been playing it nicer than it actually went down based on what they're showing here. I hate to think that American soldiers are that rude, for lack of a better word, that they're that awful when they go into people's homes. But it's like, I guess when you're like that, it's almost like a cop on the streets, like the very stereotypical chip on his shoulder cop, where he's like kind of power hungry and everybody's an enemy, you know?
Well, that's the thing, right? Because they're going in there already thinking that the family is the enemy. Black bagging the dad and saying like, oh, you know, are you working for them or whoever? I just think it's so interesting that they've kind of showed this story from that perspective, and I really enjoy stories like this where it's like, okay, war is something that we've covered a lot. It's often told from the perspective of the soldiers. I feel like that's kind of where the war stories go, but I like it when they flip it around and they show it from the point of view of civilians. And it's even more interesting when the premise is it's a small child and it's his birthday, like it's his special day, and then all of this drama happens and it's not what you expect. And
it's completely out of the parents' control.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the bit that made me want to cry was the dad going like, oh, it's his special birthday. It's his birthday and you're making him cry. And then he says, no matter what, you know, we're gonna celebrate his birthday or something along those lines. And I love any type of story which is about familial love. The love that you have with your family is something so special, and then to kind of up the stakes in that situation where we're in the middle of war and like, did his dad really help the Iraqi government or are they just innocent? There's a lot of questions there, and I don't know. I think this is a really, really interesting and heartwarming movie, potentially.
Taking into consideration films like American Sniper, where it's told from the American's perspective, which is traditionally what you get. India and Hollywood are the two biggest film industries in the, or Bollywood. Bollywood and Hollywood are the two biggest film industries in the world. I don't know who has more eyes. I'm guessing it's America. And given that the American perspective is the one that you're seeing the most, you're often seeing it from the American soldier's perspective, which is biased. It's unfair. This offers me as an American, like a different thing to think about, a different perspective. What goes through my head is that tricky situation, which is the enemy, according to the American narrative, the enemy is willing to use women and children to their advantage because they know that Americans are apprehensive about taking down women and children. Whereas when you have terrorists who attack, like 9/11 for instance, when they take down the towers, they took down a lot of people that weren't just men. They weren't soldiers in battle.
Yeah.
Those are just innocent people. That's what's going through the American soldier's mind. If you just watch the trailer to American Sniper, that's the perspective that they have, is they're trying to look for the enemy, and then you see a child with a bomb. And so when they come into the house, keeping that in mind, they see a man who is apparently innocent on the surface, but they're working under the assumption that he's hiding something and he's just doing it really, really well.
Yeah.
Even though he has nothing beyond what is on the surface. He literally just wants to have a nice day with his son.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it's just an unfortunate kind of situation. This innocent family is caught in the crossfire of this other chaos going on because other people are willing to do some treacherous shit and use child soldiers in order to fight their battles. Mm-hmm. It's all stuff that I honestly don't know enough about to comment on, and so I'm not like deep in that side of politics. I'm more in like local, domestic politics. I'm not international so much, in war and whatnot. Like, I'm not as familiar with all that stuff. All I have to go off of is the biased American information, and I recognize that it's biased. It's a natural thing, I think, to kind of favor that. It's like growing up. It's
You were exposed to that.
Yeah, it's like that's what you grew up with, and so that's where I'm coming from first. But I do try to be objective and look outside of that. For instance, when Saddam Hussein statue was taken down, this is my understanding based on other people's research and whatnot, so this is not my own research. There's two perspectives. There's the perspective of the American media where they showed what looked like a lot of people cheering that Saddam Hussein was taken down. And then they show a kid with thumbs up. But according to this guy who's way smarter than I am with all this shit, he's saying the thumbs up isn't actually thumbs up in the sense of good job, like America. Is actually bonk you in that part of the world. You know, there's different things to consider. It's like that wasn't really history has shown that probably was not the best move because Saddam Hussein was keeping a lot of these other people in check that have since become problems, and Trump supposedly stomped out. It's hard to talk about this without taking into consideration the bigger picture, which is in itself very messy. You know, you're talking about proxy wars and whatnot, and oil and self-interests of the upper 0.1% of the world. Right. You know, there's a lot going on there, and it's all super nuanced, and a lot of it is stuff that most of us won't ever understand because all we get is that surface narrative that's told to us.
And that's kind of why this is cool, because it pinpoints that into something that we can understand. It's much easier for us as a viewer to be able to relate to a family story set within war-torn Iraq than to kind of talk about all those things that you were just talking about. It makes it something that we can feel on an emotional level. I think that's what's really awesome about that storytelling.
What you said earlier kind of reminded me of something, which is, this is a weird comparison, but Cloverfield. The whole concept, the conceit of Cloverfield is you have a movie like Independence Day where aliens come and blow stuff up.
Yeah.
And you're often in the pilot seat of the hero,
yeah,
right? You're often looking at it from the hero's perspective, whoever those heroes are, whether it's Will Smith, Jeff Goldblum, the president, whoever's involved in engineering the kicking ass of the aliens, right?
Yeah.
Kicking the aliens' asses and whatnot. You're often looking at it from that perspective, but you're not seeing it from someone on the ground floor just running, at ground zero rather.
Who's like, ah,
yeah.
don't blow up that building on me.
And so the concept of Cloverfield is like, that guy running away, what's his story?
Yeah.
And you just follow that. And that's what Cloverfield is about one of the innocent bystanders. And so likewise here, it's just about an innocent bystander. And there's something beautiful about that, like you're saying, to just hone in on this micro thing that is largely ignored. Mm-hmm. So I think it is a very neat concept. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So you guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Check out ACHARA KIRK on the social media. Do subscribe if you haven't already. I'm on the social media as well if you feel like following my goofy butt. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that bell icon, all notifications please, and yeah, then you'll get notified every time we drop another video. I'm Jaby Koay, this is
ACHARA KIRK.
Peace out.